Hey everybody, JC here. Hope everybody's having a great Thursday evening. About to go pick up my wife from work. So just figured I'd throw the GoPros on and see how Tesla FSD does along the way. Let's go. All right. Push the little blue button. Already have the destination in the user interface. I sent it from my iPhone, which is one of those really cool functionalities that you can do with Tesla, is you can actually send the destination. I use Google Maps on my iPhone for most of my map queries, if you will. Got a vehicle, they just put on their blinker. So I don't know if you saw that, but we were waiting on a vehicle coming into the intersection there, and they had the right of way, but they didn't put on their blinker till the very end. So anyway, so yeah, that's one of the really cool attributes, is that you can just send it directly from your phone. I like to use Grok as well. Grok is really good for navigation now. You can just push the microphone on your steering wheel, and Grok will do everything for you except for push the self-driving button. So really, really cool. So yeah, I'm in Porter. I'm home in Porter right now, and we are going to have FSD drive us to the Woodlands, which is an area about 30 to 35 miles due north of downtown Houston. It's a very large suburban residential area of Houston, but it's grown so much that it is also a business center of Houston. So a lot of businesses and corporations have moved their corporate headquarters out to the Woodlands area. So a lot of the companies, when you hear about them relocating to Texas, if they come to Houston, a fair amount of those companies, when they do come to Houston, they will put their corporate headquarters in a place like the Woodlands for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's just a really, really nice area. And number two, and with a lot of stuff around it. So there's a nice mall, a lot of good restaurants. And then quite frankly, a lot of the folks move to Houston for work. That's probably the number one area that folks will move to is the Woodlands. I would say the Woodlands is probably the number one suburb, if you will, of the greater Houston metro area. I mean, you've obviously got others that are really nice too. Kingwood, right here. Kingwood's a bit smaller and definitely does not have as much in the way of businesses that have moved here, but still, again, definitely more of a residential only type of area in Kingwood. Got Katy out on the west end of town. Down south, you got Pearland, Silver Lake. Over here in the northeast area, not just Kingwood, but you've got Eagle Springs in the Humble, Atascocita area. Northwest, you got Tomball. I know there's a bunch more, obviously, but those are the big ones that come to mind. And then within the city of Houston, if you really just like being near downtown or being in a more dense urban environment, a lot of folks will move to the Heights, Montrose, Museum District, Galleria. all of those areas. A lot of the younger folks may move to Midtown, and that's for folks that just want to still have that little bit more of a dense urban environment, or at least be closer to a dense urban environment. Now, the only downfall, well, not the only, but the thing that folks might not, want with the Woodlands or Katy or Kingwood or Pearland is that on average, you're a good 30 miles away from downtown Houston. And also 30 miles away from a lot of the city center stuff, like the bar district, the museum district, and all of that sort of stuff. We are at the railroad crossing here at 494 and Knox Road. We've gone over it thousands upon thousands of times with FSD, but still it's a little bit of a complex railroad crossing. It's you got to make a left turn over. Obviously you got the railroad crossing, so we properly waited there till there was room to get all the way across it. And then there's it's not a four-way stop. That's another thing that makes it complicated, is we have the blinking reds. They haven't activated this as a true traffic light yet, but the traffic on 494 not only has the right of way, they don't have a stoplight. I guess the one good thing they got now is they do have the flashing yellows for 494, so they know to keep going through. Before they put those flashing yellows up, there were some folks coming down 494 thinking it was a four-way stop, and they were stopping. So that was getting a bit confusing for folks. But so I will definitely say that the way they have it set up now is much better. Nice day in Houston today. Good weather. I want to say we were in the 70s, maybe even the 80s today, and then all of a sudden it got chilly. It started getting chilly this afternoon, and it is about 56 degrees in Houston right now, which is, that may not sound chilly to a lot of y'all for March, but for Houston, it's definitely, we could tell that a little bit of I wouldn't call it a cold front, but definitely some colder weather came through. All right, inching up here for the feeder. We do have oncoming traffic. Let them pass, and there we go. Get all the way over very quickly. Nice, very nice. Getting up on 59 East Tex Freeway going northbound. We're going to go about 3 miles till we get to Highway 99. I do have it on Mad Max mode. We are in an AI4 Tesla Model 3 that I bought brand new in September 2024. I am operating with Tesla FSD version 14.2.2.5, and it has just been phenomenal. So I know this has been my first FSD video in quite a while, or I should say FSD ride-along driving video. I was in Arizona for the past week or so. I drove out to Arizona last week so that I could spend the weekend in Phoenix with my son and his new wife. So I went out, I drove out there in my Tesla using FSD during the week. Got there a little early, spent some time with my son, and then my wife and my youngest son flew out there Friday afternoon of last week. And then, so we stayed the weekend. Some other family from our side flew in as well, and then my brand new daughter-in-law we had a bunch of her family. Now, her family is mostly there in the Phoenix area. So we actually had a big old shindig, big get-together Saturday at her uncle's house, who lives in the Phoenix area. And that was a lot of fun. So got to meet a lot of them all for the first time from her side of the family. And basically got to have a de facto belated wedding reception because they actually eloped and got married in Vegas. So we all thought we were going out there for an engagement party. So they informed all of us that they had gotten engaged, and we got the engagement photos, all that sort of stuff. Lo and behold, we get out there and we all have dinner together Friday night, and my son and my new daughter-in-law then inform us over dinner, oh, by the way, we are already hitched. We are already husband and wife, and we got married in Las Vegas in a pink Cadillac. And then right after we got married, we headed to the Sphere, and they got to see the Eagles in concert at the Sphere. So, great day for them. I'm really happy for them. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, obviously, you know, a lot of us as parents, we love to have that wedding ritual. You know, that's something that you want to share with your kids. But at the same time, I completely understand it. You know, they're in love. They're in their mid-20s. They want to get on with their life. And they're both also not just very level-headed, but they're very independent. And so with my son and my daughter-in-law, when they made up their minds about what they're going to do, they're going to do it. And they're independent, so they have the wherewithal to do it. So I actually applaud them for it. I'll have to say there's a few. I mean, everybody was obviously very happy, and we love her to death. So everybody was really happy about that. There's a few that probably, you know, a little more sad than me, that we're not going to have a wedding ceremony. But when you know the two of them, it all makes sense. And hey, you know, from a common sense standpoint, and especially from an economics standpoint, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world. So they're starting their life together as a married couple with more money and less stress. So as a former accountant, as a CPA, I mean, that's a pretty damn good decision. So yeah, did that, spent the weekend with them in Arizona, and my wife and my youngest son flew back together Sunday afternoon, and as soon as I dropped them off at the Phoenix airport, then I just started my way back. And at first I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and take the scenic route back home. But I just decided I wanted to go ahead and see if I could do an FSD drive from Phoenix back to Houston and see if it could be done with absolutely zero human involvement with the steering wheel or the pedals. So, on that, it's a funny story. So, on the way from Houston to Phoenix, I was having zero human intervention drive. Made it all the way into Arizona. And then I stopped in some little bitty town in rural Arizona. Basically, all they had off of this exit was a Denny's and I think a couple of gas stations, maybe a truck stop and a smaller gas station. And FSD did great navigating us into the Denny's parking lot. And it's one of those old Denny's. I want to say this Denny's was probably built in the 70s. And the parking lot, I don't think it's been paved since then. But you know what? It's out in the middle of nowhere, and the food was good. The wait staff was great. So, you know, nobody that's stopping in this little bitty rural town in Arizona cares that much about the parking lot or the outside and interior of the Denny's, right? So everything was great there. When I came back out and started the FSD, pushed the FSD button to continue my journey to Phoenix. And I want to say this little town I stopped in, I want to say I was about 100 miles away from Phoenix at this point. And it did something really weird. So it navigated through the Denny's parking lot absolutely fine. Reversed out of the parking spot, found its way towards the exit of the parking lot, and got on over there. But the navigation showed us properly taking a right out of the navigation to make it 50 yards or so to the feeder road. Get up, take a right on the feeder, and hop right back up on the freeway. But instead, FSD decided to go against the navigation and take a left out of the parking lot. Well, not to make a boring story more boring, but to the left of us is just rural Arizona, like nothingness. And so when we took that left, FSD, the one thing I can say for FSD is after it makes a navigational error, it will immediately begin to try and reroute. It understands it made a boo-boo. And it will try, navigation will reroute, and FSD will try to make atone for its error and get you back to the right way. The problem is that these roads, once you make that left, I mean, there's not a lot of side roads. You're kind of going into rural Arizona. But because I was alone and because I wasn't in a rush, I just wanted to see if FSD could, number one, get us out of there, and then number two, see how much of a difference in time that error made. Because we all see navigational errors with Tesla FSD. I mean, everybody talks about it. But what I've seen do in Uber is even when it makes that error and I just let FSD do its thing, on average, guys, it's like 45 seconds to maybe a minute and a half that it adds to the trip. And the reason I go ahead and do that and I try to ascertain that is I'm doing that from a robo-taxi standpoint to say, like, this is not anything that's going to hold up robo-taxi. Like, if it makes a navigational error and has to reroute and it costs you a minute and 15 seconds, that's something that needs to be fixed, but that in no way, shape, or form should hold up robo-taxi. And so that's what I'm seeing, right? And so whenever something like that happens and I'm alone, I don't have a passenger or my wife or anybody like that, I will go ahead and let that play out. Well, this go around, I learned a lesson. There are times to just not let it play out. And this was one of them. Because, yeah, it took that left and just started going into rural Arizona. And, I mean, we started getting into an area that was a little bit industrial and that was, how can I put it? one of those do not enter type of areas. And so we got out there a ways. I want to say we got about 2.5 miles out there. And it was trying to turn. It was identifying the roads it needed to make left and rights on. The problem is that before it could do that, we got to an area that was basically a dead end into a do not enter area for an industrial. And I swear to God, this place looked like area, like there was barbed wire. And I was like, if it tries to go in here, I just got to take over, disengage, and get the thing turned around. So we got to the do not enter sign, and FSD properly stopped. And we stopped for about 5 seconds at the do not enter sign. And what I was hoping would happen is it would recognize that you stop, you don't enter, and that you're going to have to put it in reverse and turn yourself around. So it stopped, and it stopped a good 5 seconds. Like it knew something was up. But then it just proceeded to go forward. And so obviously being a do not enter private property place, I ended up having to touch the brake. I pushed down on the brake. I stopped the vehicle. Obviously that disengaged FSD. I put it in reverse, got us turned around, pressed the FSD button again. So again, when I had to manually turn it around, granted that's, less than 0.001 mile, but still I had to manually do that. And then press the full self-driving button again. We were back on our way, and it found its way out. And we made it the rest of the way to Phoenix with no more human involvement, no more human intervention. But still, at the end of the day, I did not make it all the way to Phoenix without having to intervene for a navigational snafu. So that was a 1,250-mile road trip where there were no critical interventions, and there weren't even any non-critical interventions on the highway or on the, to like having to pass people or get back over in the right lane or use my blinker or speed up. Never had to do anything like that. But I did have a non-critical navigational snafu going to Arizona. So that was that. So when I left the Phoenix airport after dropping my wife and son off, I just started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Let's do this again. I mean, I'm going to be coming back to Phoenix quite a bit since my son and my daughter-in-law live there now. So, it's not like I'm not going to be back here. So let's try this again. So I just decided, let's go on home. And it was, once again, going wonderfully. No human involvement whatsoever. Never had to touch the steering wheel to do anything driving related. What I mean by that is I never took over the steering wheel. I never had to activate the left or right blinker. Never had to touch the accelerator to help out. None of that. No human intervention in the drive. And then I had one more charger stop that I needed to make. And I was going to stop a little earlier when I was at about 15 to 20%. But I noticed that there was a Buc-ee's in Waller, which I know very well. And it showed that I could get there with about 4%. And to me, 4 to 5%, I'm okay with that. I can do that. I've done that. Hell, I've gone into superchargers with less than that. But anywho, the only reason I bring that up is because I went further to get it, because it was a Buc-ee's and it was that one in Waller. Well, that's only like 50 miles from my house. So I had gotten 50 miles from my house on a 1,250 mile road trip back with no human intervention. I get to Buc-ee's, perfectly fine, FSD reverses in, I put in the charger, I go into Buc-ee's, go to the little boy's room, do my thing, grab a couple of food items, because it is Buc-ee's and it's, you know, later in the afternoon, or actually this is right around noon, get a refreshment, head on back out to my Tesla, and my dumbass, I put my iPhone down on top of my Tesla. I'm putting all my stuff back in the car, and evidently I forgot to grab my phone when I was getting in and getting settled in. And I did not recall that I left my phone on top of my Tesla until we got on the feeder road going up onto the highway ramp where you start picking up speed. And then I heard something slide across my roof, and then I heard a thud by my tire. And I was like, well, what could that be? And I look around, I don't see my phone, I'm like, crap. I knew exactly what it was. So yeah, I stopped my Tesla manually on the side of the road as I was going up on the highway ramp. I looked down, I saw my phone about 100 yards behind me, and then right as I saw it, a car drove right over it and sent it to iPhone heaven. So, couple of things there. Number one, yeah. So, unfortunately, I obviously had a intervention, non-critical intervention, there. No fault of FSD, all the fault to me, but at the end of the day, it was an intervention because of a boneheaded move I made. But the second thing I will say is, interestingly, had I been on version 10 or 11 of FSD, I would have never made it out of the Buc-ee's parking lot without my phone falling off and me realizing it and probably being able to get my phone. Because the reason I was able to make it damn near all the way up onto the freeway before the phone slid off is that's how smooth FSD has gotten with version 14. It literally did not come off of my car until we got up onto the highway feeder, the feeder ramp, and started picking up. And I was on Mad Max, so you're going to get up to 85. And so obviously that amount of wind going across the top of your roof is going to blow off an iPhone. All right. We're turning into the area. All right. I've navigated it to my wife's office building. I'm not sure if I see a space here to, what did I put it on? Oh, I put it on park. Oh, I should have put it on. It's wanting to go in here. So I should have put it on curbside. There we go. Yep, we're not going in here. Let's see what it does here. So I messed up there. I had it on park. So now it's going to try to park. Oh, actually, did I put it on curbside with enough time? I think I did. So now it's going to get out of here and try to park along the curb. Let's see what it does here. So my wife's office building is directly in front of us. Let's see what it does. Oh, it's just going to stop. So that's our office building right there. A little bit of that is my fault. I forgot to put it on, let me see if I can get it over. Is there even a parking spot over there though? Let's see. And I've got it on curbside this time. I don't even know if there's a spot for it to stop over there though. It found a little spot here. I wonder if there is, let's see. I'm gonna go over here. I think that will be a better place to spot. So we're just gonna kind of circle around. I think there's a better spot. If there weren't two cars there already, that would have been a pretty good spot, but we'll just see. Got a car coming through. Oh, they just put their blinker on. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, I think this will be a better spot over here. There we come. Yeah, this is a better spot. Well, there's a car that, and there's my wife right there. So let me see if it'll get over here. There we go. Now let me. Take me home. Right.
Navigating home, about 23 miles away, should take 34 minutes. ETA 10:18 p.m.
What were you about to say, babe?
So.
Nowhere.
Oh.
It's a busy theater right here. Well, I know that was a little too sudden right there. Yeah, that was not.
Well, at least I recognize that.
It recognized it, but that was not smooth right there. That was not smooth. I mean, it did the right thing, but didn't foresee that ahead of time. Although it's kind of dark, I barely saw that was merging right there.
Yeah. You gotta really drive this road to know.
Yeah. But, yeah.
So I was like, overall, it's a good trip. I haven't spent time with Wyatt and Zoe in
Yeah.
a while, so.
Yeah, I got to spend time with Zoe at the reception, whatever you want to call it now. It was supposed to be an engagement party, and it was really more of a belated wedding reception.
Yeah. It's a good deal.
Yep. Now that was a little smoother on that one.
I mean, it knew it was.
It knew, but at first it was going to try to speed up and get going. But yeah, I think that's that would be a different scenario. Probably maybe be a little problematic, right?
Yeah.
But since it's not, then it just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always, Yeah, I would not want to downsize right now, just because, you know, we got Wyatt that's still in school, and so he kind of needs a home base. Zachary doesn't really need a home base anymore, but we do need it for Wyatt.
Yeah.
Jacob, you know, we'll see, you know, if he stays in California or comes here, but, you know, always have that for him as well. Although I'm obviously Zach and Carly can come in, but I mean, I think it's pretty clear to see Zach and Carly have kind of, they're like done
Yeah.
with us. You know what I mean? Like totally flown the coop.
Yeah.
And Zoe's kind of done the same thing, you know. Granted, I still, you know, I'm still paying for some of her stuff. You know, I pay her car note and her insurance, but beyond that, she and Jason are taking care of it. I don't pay their rent.
Yeah.
So they take care of their rent and their food.
Yeah.
So, and at a certain point, you know, we'll see. That car will be good for a while. We'll see at that point. Wyatt obviously is still completely on our payroll, but he's in a different scenario too.
Yeah.
He's actually going full time to school. And then just extended family. I think it's still smart that we keep our house, but you know, we never know what may you know, if we need your mom, get your mom move in or something like that, or if Annabelle needs a player or you know, Angel. And so I'm good with just the house we have right now. I know you've talked about wanting to like move to the Woodlands or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of, I'm looking at it over the next 3 to 5 years. We just stay
Our
put.
interest is pretty
Yeah,
low,
it's
so
low.
let's just leave it at where it's at. I don't want to deal with the overpriced, inflated house prices right now.
Now we do. We have a good interest rate. We're just under 4%.
Yeah.
So
So we just.
I mean, it's always cool to think about getting a new home, you know, moving to a new home. But I think right now we're fine.
I'm curious to see how all that development's happened though on North Park.
Oh yeah. I think they're still working on it, right?
I know, but
Oh,
like
you mean
done, you know,
you don't mean in a past sense. You mean like when it actually happens in the
and
future.
then what happens with the price of our home?
Yeah.
And then since they're expanding,
Well, it went way up. Like, so I keep kind of an eye on it. I don't keep too much of an eye because it doesn't really matter, right? Because like we're not going anywhere. But I did notice and you know, Zillow's just, that's one day, but it's a good data point.
Yeah.
So like right after, during COVID and like for a year or so after, man, it shot up.
Yep.
So like it went up to
Yep.
at one point, and then it came, but then I noticed everybody's has come down quite a bit in the last, I was going to say 12 months, but it's really been like the last 6 to 9 months.
So what's it at?
I want to say it's in like, so still higher than, definitely higher than what we bought it for, and significantly higher than our loan amount. Like our loan amount is really, because I mean, we're at a point now because so we're actually at that inflection point where, you know, we're paying more principal, you know, a lot more principal with each payment.
Yep.
So that's really been knocking the loan value down. But still, it was kind of cool to look and see, holy crap, at one point. But yeah, it's come down. But that's natural. I mean, that a lot of that was the COVID.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, you're right. It'll be interesting to see as they finish all this development, that does it start going back up, or do we just now go back to a new normal, and it's that, you know, normal Houston trajectory of like 5% a year
Yeah.
increase. Because that's what Houston in a normal market, you're not going to get, because there's just too much room to build.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a governor on the value of your house if you live in the burbs. Because look at this. I mean, you could build right here.
Down there,
Yeah, I mean, there's
a lot.
so it's like, why is somebody going to pay more for it when they can get a brand new home for a certain amount? So you kind of always have a governor, but it still goes up like 5% a year.
Yeah.
It was just there for like 2 or 3 years. It just shot up. Like,
Yep, and that's when everyone was selling and buying. I'm just like, yeah, you're selling
yeah,
great value, but you're buying
yeah,
less real estate for more money.
yeah. Well, you're saving a lot of money at the end of the day. But yeah, the more typical scenario is like what I had on my first house that I bought in Houston.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh yeah, never mind. So, but that's the trade-off, right? Is you have very, very affordable housing here, but you're just not gonna, flip a home here in a decade and make a killing with it, right?
Right. Right. You don't flip in Texas.
Yeah, that's not unless you're in like specific neighborhoods where they can't really build anything new anymore,
Yeah.
like in the Heights or River Oaks or Montrose or certain areas of Dallas and Austin. Like if you want to stay in the city, then yeah, those will definitely go up because there's no other place to build in the same place.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about the burbs, no, because nobody gives a shit. Like Kingwood versus Woodlands versus Katy versus Pearland. It's like, no, it's all the burbs.
Yeah. This is true. This is true.
So yeah, you're just never, ever going to make, not like the way that y'all did really well on your mom's house, your mom and dad's house in Long Beach.
Yeah.
Right? The amount of appreciation y'all saw, you're never going to see that in the burbs in Houston in that short a time.
No. But they bought that house in 87. You
Yeah,
ever ate at this place? Hofbräu?
I've eaten at the one in Beaumont, obviously.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Is it? Have you eaten there? I haven't eaten at that one. Yeah, we have a Hofbräu it's obviously a chain. I don't think it's a big chain. It's probably just a few places in South. In fact, that's a great question. The Hofbräu restaurant, there's one in Porter, Texas, and one in Beaumont, Texas. How many Hofbräu restaurants are there, and where are they located?
There are several Hofbräu steakhouse spots in Texas, not all connected. You've got one in Porter at FM 1314 Road, plus Hofbräu Steak and Grill House locations in Amarillo, Benbrook, Granbury, and Haltom City, and the original in Austin. No current one in Beaumont, though.
So there used to be a Hofbräu in Beaumont. Did they close it down?
Yeah, the Hofbräu Steaks in Beaumont on North 11th Street closed down years ago. The spot's now Crazy Cajun or something similar, from what folks remember.
What year did it close down?
No exact closing year turns up, but it was open into at least the 1990s and long gone by Yelp marking it closed. Folks still reminisce about it as a classic spot now turned into Crazy Cajun.
Interesting. Yeah, so the Hofbräu, so I didn't even know that. Well, that shows you how often I go back to that part of Beaumont now. But yeah, the Hofbräu in Beaumont, that was always, now this is where the poor white trash part, like that was considered like one of the, like if you wanted to go to like a nice steak restaurant, it was the Hofbräu. And if you didn't want to go to a night, but you still wanted a steak, you go to the Western Sizzler.
Sizzler.
I'll tell you what, though, you know, I am never going to crap on the Western Sizzler. They did right by me growing up.
Some unlimited shrimp.
Yeah,
Surf
go in there and
salad.
granted, this was back in the 70s and 80s, but go in there for $5 and just fill up, eat as much steak as you want.
And unlimited salad.
Yeah, well, I never ate the salad part.
I know, Huffy.
Hey, Husky. What's a Huffy? Husky.
Husky pants. That's funny. So me and Wyatt have a nickname now, right? I just call him Thunder Thighs since he called me.
I thought he
Thunder
called
Thighs.
you Thunder Thighs.
He did, so now I be calling him Thunder Thighs. I was like, you got nerves to call me Thunder Thighs? So before he starts, I'm like, let's go, Thunder. It's okay, babe. Don't be jealous of our relationship.
Of your relationship with who?
Why?
Oh, why would I be jealous of that?
Because we have fun together.
Good. I want y'all to.
Yep. I was like, wait, remember when you threw that big old tantrum because you really wanted that game sold and it was sold out everywhere? You
wanted the what?
When we were reminiscing, right? I go, remember we were living in an apartment and during that time, like there was a new game sold that was out and it was sold out everywhere. You threw a bitch fit and cried on the couch. Your dad had to console you and the next day he took you to GameStop to buy it. He goes, oh yeah. And I go, remember when I first met you and you were like, and you really thought, believed in Santa, but in my head I was like, this guy is playing it for that extra gift. He goes, oh, I was going to try to play it for as long as I could. Good deal. He's like, you knew? I was like, yeah. I was like, and then remember when Zach told you that Santa wasn't real and you pretend to fake cry? Maybe you don't remember.
Nah, I don't remember that.
Oh. I knew I was cracking up. Your kid cracks me up. I like a little neighborhood.
Yep. Yep. And knock on wood, I mean, I think it's stayed. I mean, it's definitely filled up since we've been here. Like, it's hard to believe we've been here 9 years now, but it's definitely filled out more. A lot more people, but I feel like, you know, you never see a lot of police presence around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't see police being called to homes. You don't see, you definitely, and you see people comfortable going out. You know what I'm saying? It's like it hasn't. Whereas I've heard some other people say, like, neighborhoods, especially like in Atascocita and Humble, it's like, man, it's gotten like where they moved in 10, 15 years ago and it was nice, and now it's just, you know, they see cops all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I see it.
And here it's just, you know, you don't get it. There's no drama out here.
There's no drama, but you do have looters. You do have a couple of crackheads that walk around or drive around or bike around.
Yeah, well, they're at least not causing.
But I tell you this much: the reason why they probably don't come up to our house is because we got 4-ass dogs.
Well, yeah.
That will start barking and alerting. And I think. Sorry. Hello. Wait. Okay, let me call her. I'm not home yet, but I'll call you back.
Yes, definitely.
Alright, bye.
What's going on?
Hey, so what's going on?